warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najma Lima, but first are the headlines. UPDF soldiers off to Kenya for joint military drills. Eritrea's president calls Tigray rights abuse claims as a fantasy. Vipers dare Raja Casablanca behind closed doors. Welcome once again. Now the news in detail. The UPDF contingent has been flagged off to Kenya for joint drills with their 20 other countries code and named Justified Accord 2023, abbreviated as JA23. This exercise is sponsored by the Southern European Task Force Africa and the United States Joint Force. We have more. JA23 is a multinational national exercise which brings together more than 20 countries from 3 continents to increase partner readiness for peacekeeping operations, crisis response, and humanitarian assistance. The 14 days training exercise will feature a multinational command post exercise, AU staff officers course, defensive cyber course, and Medicap, among others. The Ugandan contingent was flagged off by the UPDF Brigadier Stephen Tumwesije Kashule at the Uganda Rapid Deployment Capabilities Center headquarters in Gaddafi Barracks in Jinja. Speaking to the troops, Brigadier Kashule implored the soldiers to maintain discipline during the drills. He emphasized professionalism, urging the soldiers to acquaint himself with what they are required to do, know exactly which role they are supposed to play, and take in much more information for future operations for the good of the country and the region. Other participating armies in the exercise include the British Army, Netherlands, Angola, Botswana, Djibouti, Kenya, Rwanda, Somalia, Tanzania, and Uganda contingent, among others. Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki said on Thursday that allegations of rights abuses by Eritrean troops in Ethiopia's Tigray region during the 2-year war there amounted to fantasy. Let's take a look.
Eritrea's President Isaias Afwerki told reporters during a visit to Kenya, deflecting questions about the presence of Eritrean troops in Ethiopia, that there is a lot of fabricated misinformation which is being produced by those who do not wish good for the country's troops. Eritrea's army supported Ethiopian forces during the federal government's war against the Tigray People's Liberation Front and has been accused by the United Nations and rights groups of some of the conflict's worst atrocities. The war ended with a peace deal signed in November last year that called for the withdrawal of foreign forces, but there was no specific mention of Eritrea, whose regime considers the TPLF its archenemy. Asmara was not a party to the agreement, and its troops continues to be present in parts of Tigray, according to the residents who accuse the soldiers of murder, rape, and looting.
The 3 main armed movements that make up the coordination of Azawad movements merged on Wednesday in Kidal, a northeastern Malian town they have controlled militarily since 2013. The group includes National Movement for the Liberation of Azawad, the Arab Movement of Azawad, and the High Council for the Unity of Azawad. Let's take a look. In concrete terms, the new leadership of the ex-rebels in the north are expecting to put more pressure to the Malian government. A few months ago, the members of the new alliance suspended their participation in the decision-making bodies of the Algiers peace agreement, accusing the Malian state of backing out of the agreement. The coordination of Azawad movements are predominantly Tuareg alliance that fought the state for years before signing the peace deal in Algiers in 2015, blamed the ruling military junta for foot dragging. The new movement is already planning, with other armed groups involved in the peace process, to launch a vast operation to secure the populations of northern Mali. Let's take a quick break. We will be right back. The Moroccan parliament decried on Wednesday an unjust campaign against it at the European Parliament ahead of a hearing in Brussels over the North African country's alleged use of Pegasus spyware.
The European Parliament is set to hear from experts, human rights defenders and journalists on Thursday on claims that Morocco had used the spyware against politicians and journalists, a claim denied by Rabat. Pegasus software, developed by Israel firm NSO, can be used to access a phone's messages and emails, look through photos, eavesdrop on calls, track the owner's location, and even film them with a camera. Rashid Taloub Alami, Speaker of the Moroccan House of Representatives, said that their country suffers hostile actions and attacks at the European Parliament, which have forced them to re-evaluate their relations with it. Last month, Parliament voted unanimously to review ties with the European Parliament, accusing it of meddling after a resolution that urged the kingdom to respect press freedoms.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov visited Mauritania on Wednesday, holding talks with his colleague Salim Mazung and President Mohamed Ghazouani. The two sides discussed bilateral cooperation across a wide range of areas as well as regional and international issues. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Wednesday at a press conference after talks with Mauritania's Foreign Minister Mohamed Salim that Mauritania is interested in supplies of hydrocarbon fuel, food and fertilizers from Russia. He added that they spoke about the supplies in detail and are ready to satisfy requests for those goods from Mauritania and other African countries. Lavrov said that they will actively continue to encourage the UN Secretary General to seek the removal of artificial illegal obstacles that the United States and its allies maintain in the way of the logistics and financial chains for the delivery of Russian fertilizers and food to world markets as part of his package initiative. It's the first visit of the Russian foreign minister to Mauritania during the 60 years of diplomatic relations. Let's once again take a quick break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, the Ethiopian government announced on Thursday the sale of 45% of the capital of the public operator Ethio Telecom, which lost its monopoly in 2022, a figure up from the 40% sale announced in November.
The Minister of Finance announced in a statement, citing the company's solid financial performance, that the Ethiopian government is proposing a partial privatization of Ethio Telecom by selling up to 45% of its capital. In November, the same minister had announced the sale of shares constituting 40% of the capital of the company. Launched in June 2021, the partial privatization of Ethio Telecom, a 100% public company, had finally been postponed indefinitely to March 2022 due to recent developments and rapid macroeconomic changes in the world and in the country. The privatization of Ethio Telecom is one of the cornerstones of the reform package announced by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed when he came to power in 2018 to modernize Ethiopia's heavy state-run economy. In May 2021, a second cell phone license ending Ethio Economy's monopoly had been granted to Kenyan operator Safaricom.
In our health news today, the World Health Organization announced on Thursday that Malawi's deadliest cholera outbreak has killed at least 1,210 people, urging for strong interventions to prevent the situation from worsening. The Southern African nation saw a 143% increase in the number of cases last month compared to December. Nearly 37,000 cases were reported since March 2022. Malawi has carried out 2 large vaccination campaigns since the outbreak began. However, due to limited supplies, the authorities offered just one of the usually recommended 2 oral cholera vaccine doses. A health ministry spokesman said last month that all the doses had been used. The global stockpile of cholera vaccine co-managed by the World Health Organization was empty or extremely low last year against the backdrop of surging cholera outbreaks worldwide. Confirmed cases have been reported in nearby Mozambique, while poor water, sanitation and hygiene pose risk to other bordering nations, the World Health Organization assessed. Cholera, which causes diarrhea and vomiting, is contracted from a bacterium that is generally transmitted through contaminated food or water. And in sports, reigning Uganda Premier League champions Viper SC begin their CAF Champions League group stages journey with a tough trip to Morocco, where they face Raja Casablanca on Friday. The Venoms reached the group stages after overcoming 5-time champions TP Mazembe on penalties after 2 goalless stalements. Ahomaza reports.
Vipers Soccer Club have no better time to face Raja than now when they don't have fans in the stands, following sanctions by CAF that came after their behavior against Al Ahly last season. The Vipers game is one of the 2 Raja will play behind closed doors, plus a fine of $24,000 for the use of smoke, lasers and throwing bottles, as well as another $20,000 for failing to provide necessary security measures. Vipers keeper Milton Karisa is adamant his side can pick a decent result away from home, stating that it's the horse under pressure. Karisa alongside new signing Martin Kiza and Yunus Sentam will be crucial in attack if the Venoms are to leave Morocco with a decent result.
That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned.